Mayor Rudez.
I'm here.
Also present in this meeting is Village Attorney James Wargo, Village Manager Ernestine Beck Fulgham. Is there anyone else? And Village Clerk D. Jones.
Yeah. Oh, don't exclude yourself.
I wasn't about to. Okay.
I'm gonna do our disclaimer. Good evening, James.
Good evening, Mayor.
Pursuant to Governor Pritzker's Executive Order 2020-07, COVID-19 Executive Order number 5, as amended, which suspends the requirements of the Illinois Open Meetings Act, requiring in-person attendance by members of a public body during the duration of the gubernatorial disaster proclamation. The members of the village board will not be physically present for the designated board meeting, but will instead be participating in the meeting through audio access using a virtual meeting platform. Public comments may be submitted in advance of the meeting to Village Clerk D. Jones at djones@university-parkil.com or by text message to the Village Clerk at 708-473-6201. All comments must be received by 5 p.m. the day before the meeting. In order to give proper consideration to all items on this agenda, the mayor will limit participants in the debate and will close off protracted, repetitive, irreverent, or abusive remarks. Public comments will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. That does that. Let's do our Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Lewis, may we use your flag, please?
Sure.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the
flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the minutes, D, and before we go into the general public comments, I just want to make mention of one thing before it slips in my mind. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes?
Moved.
Second.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Lewis.
Votes aye.
Trustee Franklin.
Votes aye.
Trustee Bolden.
Votes aye.
Trying to see. Trustee Jenkins Bell.
Votes no.
Trustee Brooks.
Votes no.
Mayor Rudez.
Votes aye. Okay, before we go into the general public comments, I just want to make a very quick public announcement that we've been working hard on. We're going to have not a workshop, we're going to have an event in the village soon, working with Aqua Water to ensure that any resident that may be having shut-off notices or disconnection will have an opportunity working with the Will County Community Concerns and Cook County on setting up an arrangement within the couple of weeks in the month of March at 90 Town Center, where any resident that may come in or might have trouble with their water bill will be able to get relief or sign up for the WUPC program. Also, there will be some participation from Cook County that Will County residents are eligible to participate in. So residents, please pay close attention to our website, and as soon as we get a confirmed date, we'll let everyone know so we can come in and start making sure that Aqua does not cut off any of our water, and we'll continue to fight with the water company. So I just want to make that very quick public service announcement because I don't want that to slip away. It's very important. So thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Board, for that in a few moments. General public comments, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. I've got a few. Running out. I received 6 comments from the general public for this meeting. First one, if I can see, is from Deborah Taylor, sent February 21st, 2022. Good evening, everyone. I want to give this board and the listening audience the opportunity to rethink how personal matters are handled by this board. During the previous board meeting, the village clerk read a letter about one of our trustees. The contents that were read appeared to be very personal. Is this how we conduct village business? Or are we going ghetto fabulous or just ghetto? The second one is from Greg Box. It too was received on February 21st, 2022. And it reads, good evening, Mayor Rudez and Board of Trustees. Chief Wilson has been on administrative leave for at least 2 months. Following the lawful arrest of the manager of the golf course, the arrest was deemed lawful and charges were brought against those 2 individuals by the Will County State's Attorney's Office. So why is Chief Wilson still on administrative leave? Mayor and board, did you see anything different in the video that the state's attorneys did not see? I'm requesting that the board putting in to this fiasco tonight and reinstate Chief Wilson. Greg, back to her position. Gregory Box, retired officer, University Park Police. Number 3. Hello, board. I am Robin Walker and have a few questions for Village Manager Fulgham and board, and I'm requesting a response back. 1, why are we paying CHW Management Group at the UP Golf Course approximately $80,000 a month when the manager, Sonia Coffey, has been indicted for an alleged aggravated assault against the police chief? 2, why do we still have a contract with this vendor and are paying for services never rendered due to the establishment always being closed? Number 3, can the board please vote to stop this unnecessary, frivolous spending and halt this payment until the golf course is fully opened up for business? Robin Walker. Number 4 is from Donna Dilworth. Good evening. During last week's board meeting, Clerk D. Jones, I was extremely disappointed because I believe you made several bad decisions and showed poor judgment when you decided to introduce gossip into our village proceedings during the reading of public comments. You stated that you received a printout of someone's Facebook page in regard to a trustee and their family and employee asked you to add to public comments. First, the initial way you received the information should have been a red flag for a master clerk, as you proclaim. As a master clerk, I know you knew that this information should have been tossed. Then you send it out to all the board members asking them how to proceed with this information. Do you review every public comment sent in with the board first and then ask if you should or shouldn't read the comments? No, right. You then concluded by saying to the viewing community that if you want to see this gossip, then you can come to the village and you, the village, will give them a copy of it. Really? The gossip has zero to do with village business at all, but you decided to participate in trying to sabotage one of your own board members. There's a lot of gossip, people's personnel pages, pictures and association out there about every board member. And I hope if there ever is a next time, all board members would speak up and hold Clerk D. Jones accountable and stop her at the beginning before anything is read, because you know you can be next. I am requesting for all of that information to be disposed and excluded from the minutes before the minutes for Tuesday, February 15th is approved. Hopefully one of you will motion to exclude and another will second to exclude any form of public comment. Number 4, for the record, thank you, Donna Dilworth. Number 5, Vivian Covington. Good evening, Clerk Jones and Board of University Park. My comments for tonight are: 1, I would like to ask for prayers and condolences for Mrs. I know she means Frances Washington's family. She was a 35-year resident and outstanding volunteer at University Park. She passed away last week. We are waiting for her son to arrive from Italy, and I will be posting her arrangements this week. Number 2, I would like for the attorney and or clerk to answer why didn't he, the attorney, or you, Clerk Jones, block the derogatory statements about Trustee Bell's family. It was uncalled for and quite embarrassing to the board as a legislative body. In the beginning of the board meeting, a statement is usually read about disrespectful comments and behavior. It used to be the first statement before the agenda is established. It needs to be acknowledged. Number 3, is the golf course closed until spring? Vivian Covington. The 6th one is from Gina Williams. Again, I'd like to ask about the status of the police chief. Surely the investigation should be over by now. What is the holdup? Next, I'd like to speak to the matter of Trustee Brooks being removed from the Aqua project. Trustee Brooks had worked dutifully on since its inception. The mayor said it was a conflict of interest because he sued the village. Well, first, thanks to Trustee Brooks for having our back and getting the financial statements he needed, and was denied by the VM, whom we learned was misappropriating funds. You mentioned the word sued, when at the same time, you brought in the former chief of police, who had made several attempts to sue us and still is. So please explain the difference between the two. And lastly, it was quite disturbing for the village clerk to read public comments enough to expose a trustee's personal business and then mention it was available to the public for their asking. Personal business should never come before the board in this context. It was very unprofessional and in bad taste. Again, it shows how certain trustees are targeted because they don't go along with the mayor's crooked agenda. The world says what goes around comes around. The Bible says you will reap what you sow. This board has a lot of reaping to do. Respectfully, Gina Williams. That's the end of the public comments, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, may I be recognized? Mayor, may I be recognized?
Yeah, yes, go right ahead, trustee.
First of all, I would like to send my condolences to Tracy Duckworth of the library board. Her mom has passed along, and I just want to, just say I'm sorry, and we are here and praying for you and your family. Also, I would like to address each and every individual that sent in a comment. I want to take the time to thank each and every last one of them for everything that they've said and all the phone calls that I've received in this matter that came before the board, which was so personal. But I want to also address this. I didn't have a problem with it because none of it is true. But when my daughter came home from school today and visibly upset, that's when I began to have a problem. My thing is that when it's personal, I've received so many emails in reference to this situation. And a lot of the emails that I have received are the board members, along with pictures and statements and personal things about the board members that I would never reveal because I have too much class, too much integrity, and I would never lower myself to that standard. And believe me, pictures are worth 1,000 words. So my thing is this. As we proceed forward, if anyone else this is done to anyone else, I would appreciate it if it will not be brought on the village's floor for any form of trying to read it to expose anyone, because obviously this looks as if it was an attempted political assassination that did not work. So my thing is that would you please take everyone's family into consideration when you're bringing people's personal business onto the floor when we're conducting village business. And that is the end of my statement for right now. And also I want to piggyback off the mayor. I want to thank Madam Executive Jennifer Bertino Tarrant. I talked to her 2 weeks ago in reference to the LIWAP program. Mr. Garland Mays, I called and made one phone call, told her that they had a LIWAP program. She looked into it, and Mr. Garland Mays was very instrumental in bringing this to the 90 Town Center and reaching out to the mayor. I asked him to reach out to the mayor so we could get this done to help low-income families assure that they have this program, because Aqua was making phone calls to people's homes in reference to this LIWAP program and telling people how to do. It was about 3 weeks ago. I answered the Aqua call on a Saturday and they introduced the program. And then I reached out to Madam Executive, and she said, oh yeah, sure. It's not her program. It's through the Will County Community Concerns, but I'll hook you up with Mr. Garland Mays. He's working diligently to help this community, and I want to thank him as well. And also Ms. Karen Lewis and Theo Brooks for working closely with Aqua and supporting these residents with their Aqua issues. Thank you.
All right, thank you, trustee. Okay, trustee Brooks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I just want to, maybe this can help with the solution. Trustee Jenkins Bell had called me late last week in reference to public comments. Mr. Mayor, until we go back before the public, and actually even then, can we do what I have witnessed over my years when I did have the detail to work the board meeting as a police officer? I noticed that the communities that I was in, the resident or the business owner would give their name and their address and then state their concern. I think that maybe that would resolve some of the issues of any anonymous letters or something that may come in, because I don't know the details of this. I did tell Trustee Jenkins Bell what she should do on both ends, because she has a serious situation and I don't think it needs to be out in the public. Because I worked juvenile and youth out, my information was good for her. But when it came to how the information got there, I only listened to what was explained to me by Trustee Jenkins. And, you know, I think that maybe if we can do what most other communities do, is that most people give their name and address of who they are. We are a community, and then they state their problems to the mayor and the board. Board of Aldermen, Board of Trustees, it didn't make a difference. You know what I mean, Mayor? The council, pretty much the city, both municipalities was a city. So the city council was addressed by those individuals. Even if it was, say, if it was the business, the owner would say his name, the business, and the business address. That way, that would take away any who or where. And this weekend, I will say this too to Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk forwarded every single email with the email address to us. And actually, Madam Clerk, yes, I was up at 2:30, 3
You were up
in the morning. I started to hit the phone and say, hey, what you doing up? I'm supposed to be the only one on the board that don't sleep at night. But yes, she, yeah, I see you, Shirley. Yeah. So I started to say, but she forwarded everything that came in as an email through these comments and sent it right through. And if I'm not mistaken, when they were phone numbers, they come in and they send it. She sent it right with the phone number too. So maybe I just believe that to eliminate these things, Mr. Mayor, I asked at the board that maybe this is what we established from here out to eliminate from this from happening any further. And I give my time, sir.
Mr. Clerk, I will ask. Okay, bye.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Madam Clerk.
may I be recognized?
Absolutely.
First, I'd like to respond to Trustee Brooks. If I'm not wrong, state statute does not allow us to refuse people from making comments. We cannot force them to identify themselves. Is that correct, Attorney Borga?
That's true.
Yes, I recall that. I know that's been a common practice, Trustee Brooks,
Right.
and I'm just trying to look on my phone. I know there's an issue certainly with giving the address, and I'm not sure if push came to shove if you made them give their name, but I think some of the concerns that are being expressed, and you know, board members are not above criticism, right? And then
Right.
it becomes, when it becomes really nasty and personal, you know, sometimes it's easy to see that line. But I think probably some of these issues may be resolved in the fact if we go personal, you know, we have in-person meetings. But I think if you kind of press them to give their name, I think they could still stay up there and not provide it. At least I know on their address, and I think it probably goes with their name, but I can further check on that and see if there's.
Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, James, and I think if I'm not mistaken, in Harvey, sometimes someone will walk up and say, "Yes, you know, how you doing, Mayor? 15305 Myrtle. Could you, you know, take care of the dope dealing out there, you know?"
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, and you know, I just feel at this point, after listening to, I don't know if anyone else spoke to Jenkins Bell since the last board meeting. Look, my wife even reached to her, and I think when you are a first time, look, Mayor Rudez, Clerk D, even Shirley been around in this for a minute. When you've been baptized by politics, your skin gets very thick. It's not a beanbag sport. But when we have a situation where this was very deep, I do believe Yeah, this is very deep to the point that I do believe that
The authorities
this
have
yes, this involves the authorities to the
authorities.
extent that and when I say
investigate.
authorities, I'm meaning that it's not always the police. I think it's more serious than this.
It's
So,
more
you know, I don't want everybody, if the trustees
Yeah.
are, someone's going to jail or none, we don't like to give out who was contacted because that other individual, but someone still has the right to give out, and James is correct. I'm just saying, Mr. Mayor, if we can work something out so that when something like this come, we know negativity is going to come up, you know, but for something that it was this serious, if we can work it out where at least if someone says something that's threatening, at least this board would be able, or Madam Clerk, or someone can be able to identify where did it come from. That's it. Just where did it come from? And
Point well taken, sir. Point
Yeah.
taken.
Yeah.
Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Also, excuse me, also, I'm receiving,
Wait, Trustee, Madam Clerk has the floor. Give it.
oh, I'm sorry, okay.
I do have a response to that, but I wanted to ask a question of this board. Before I read even the cover page, I put in an email to the board. This is a board decision. Will you guys give me guidance on
Yes, you
whether
did.
you want the first page read? Because believe it or not, when I received that document labeled public comments, as I understand it, and I did speak to the attorney, it became a public document. I contacted the board. I just want to set the record straight. I contacted the board. I spoke with the attorney, and I just want to put, you know, to try and set the record straight. I acknowledged the receipt of a public comment that referenced one of our trustees. I read the first page. I sent all of you everything that I received and to the attorney.
Wait.
After
Oh, no.
Will somebody mute
I
their phone?
made it clear to the board, and I spoke with Trustee Jenkins at length about the fact that once I viewed it, I felt it was so inappropriate and was a personal matter that I would not read it in public. I even stated to Trustee Jenkins, I might have to answer for that later because someone might think that I violated their constitutional right by not reading the entire contents of what I received. But as I said to Trustee Jenkins, I'll be willing to defend this decision because of the language, the derogatory pictures, the implication of certain criminal acts, photographs of other elected officials, and the language and the things that were written by the young lady who identified herself.
Yes, you did.
And it appeared that what I received, and I stated this at the last meeting, was taken off of someone's Facebook page. But I want to say to the listening community, this board and the public, believe it or not, I feel that this is an attempt to impugn my reputation, to castrate my character, and assassinate my integrity, mainly because I took an oath to serve all of the 7,145 residents of this village with impartiality, with neutrality and to give equal service to all, not just a handful of people who apparently dance to the sound of different drummers. At the meeting on February 15, I did not read any information about Trustee Jenkins or her family. I only acknowledged receipt of the comment and stated what I just previously stated of the reasons I would not read the entire context. Because, like I said, I felt they were inappropriate and it was a personal dispute between Trustee Jenkins. And trust me, I don't know how all of this got out to the public, that it became a firestorm, when I can attest to the fact I only sent it to the board, which I do with every public comment that I received. So for people to talk about what was contained in it, I have no idea. But apparently, and I must say this, apparently someone on this board disseminated the entire contents of what was in that packet. And now I'm being accused of acting inappropriately. Please know, as your clerk, your master municipal clerk, as someone says, do I know what it is? I try to keep myself updated on the changes in the laws, but the one thing I know under the OMA, I cannot, and I'll say that again, I cannot and I do not have the luxury or the authority under the law to tear up, toss out, or ignore any public document submitted to my office. It's obvious that some of you feel that the law only applies to others and not you, based on the name calling and disrespect of other elected officials that we all have witnessed. And you think that's fair or that's okay? No. I will also believe that, and I will ask our watching and listening audience, if you want to know what I said, what I read, you can go on our YouTube. You can check the video from the February 15th, 2022 meeting, and you will see that what is stated here is not what I did at that meeting. And someone else is guilty of fueling the fire by disseminating all this information.
May I make a comment?
And
I'm going to say
I just want to leave this with you, that the God I serve is a God of love. And those who know me know I do not stoop to anybody's level. And I've always treated everybody with the same respect. I will continue to do that. And I truly believe no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go, Trustee Jenkins.
This letter was reflected about my son, my daughter, my husband, myself. It was terrible. It was a mess. And this was disseminated to every trustee on this board and also the village manager. I have sought legal counsel because someone called me and said it was internal. Now, if it was internal, I have no way of knowing. We will allow the investigation to go forward. I have turned the information over to the AG's office so we can move from there. But when it came to my son and my children, they're off limits. And when this was done, I can honestly say that I showed my son what was sent to the village board about him, his mother, his father, and his sister. My children have been nothing but good stewards to this community and all of their residents, all of these, anybody on this board that you needed their help, they would help you. My daughter is a super volunteer in this community. And for her to come home and be upset because of nonsense that was put out in a community by our legislation made absolutely no sense. Now, I'm not saying that what you did was right or wrong. You had to follow the rules, or whatever rules that you have to follow and laws that you had to follow. But we will see is how fair and impartial you actually are. Because all of the emails that I have gotten, I'm gonna make sure that they come in and I'm gonna see if you give them the same respect that you have given me and my family. Now, see, I'm very calm right now, but I was not calm when my daughter came home crying and upset because of what was said about her. And I'm not gonna go back and forth because it's not back and forth. We gotta move on with this and we're gonna put it behind us and we're gonna move forward and not worry about it. But what was done affected my family in its entirety. And I did not appreciate it. I'm the politician, they are not. And I don't call myself a politician, I just don't. But the politics have touched them and they've done nothing. They're never there, they're never around. They do what they can, but they don't politic. And this what I felt was politics at its worst. And so I am not, I didn't like it and I'm gonna stand and fight it till I get tired. And if you think this is gonna quiet me down, you're wrong because I'm gonna get louder and louder and louder to fight corruption that exists in this community. Because this was it was just horrible. And when it was done, a smile was on somebody's face when it was done. It was unnecessary and it was not right and it was not just and it was not good. I serve a mighty God too. He looks high and he looks low and he's not a respecter of persons. Understand that. And he will separate the wheat from the shaft. He'll do it. We're not. And no tongue is going to rise against me. And I'm okay with it. Because let me explain. I got angels surrounding me, in front of me, behind me, and around me, just as everyone else on this board. So when we looking at this situation, we got to take into consideration, we all have a family. We all have children. We don't want to see our children come and hurt because of what we done as an adult. My daughter is in the high school. She has nothing to do with my son's garbage. And then to hear that the girl called and reached out to you on the telephone with nonsense, are you kidding me? We're still going through this for a year and been going through it, and it is a delicate situation. And if something happens to one of my grandchildren because of all of this nonsense and the girl is flying off the hinges and acting crazy, and she do something to my grandchildren, I'm gonna look at you because their blood is gonna be on your hands because this was unnecessary. And I'm not gonna pretend that it was okay because it was not okay. It was disrespectful.
Trustee.
I'm done. I don't want to talk about it.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Madam Clerk.
I must respond to Trustee.
I'm not going, didn't you say it's no go back and forth, Mr. Mayor? You can respond to me on the telephone. I mean, this is making no sense to me. And then I'm asking, why wasn't Miss Millie's comment read?
Madam Clerk, go ahead.
You know, I am kind of baffled, not kind of baffled, but disappointed with what Trustee Jenkins.
You think I'm disappointed? You think I'm not?
Number one, when I received that information and I sent it to the board, I spoke with Trustee Jenkins. She told me She was so angry that this girl had sent this that she was going to go on Nextdoor and Facebook and expose this young lady, her mental state, and her family, and all of this. I spoke at length for almost 40 minutes with Trustee.
You did it for me. I didn't have to do it.
They
Trustee.
asked,
You
I
did.
said, why go on Facebook? Why are you going to make this an issue? And again, I say, I never
You are making it an issue.
But the trustee, respect
anybody, I never sent anything to anybody except this board. The fact that you decided to take the cover off of yourself, that's on you. I have done nothing different that I've always done. And if you would be truthful, you would tell the truth and say that you and I had lengthy conversations.
Yes,
about
we
this
have. So
issue.
you know she
And
has
now
a
you
mental
are
problem.
going- and now
Yes.
you're going to pretend that
No, I'm not
know
pretending.
this girl
That's what
and
I'm
that
saying. The
I'm
girl
trying to
is something. I said it
Trustee.
publicly.
trustee,
I'm-
please, trustee,
This is
please.
what we're dealing
They
with.
say,
And
like they say, when someone shows you who they are, you had better
I
believe.
believe it. I believe it now. I sure do.
Unbelievable.
Trustee, would you please refrain from just. Okay. All right, we have a business meeting to take care of. Are you finished, Madam Clerk?
Yes,
Okay. New business, first, second, and third reading, and ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a First Amendment to a short-term lease agreement to the property commonly referred to as units 22 through 26, Town Central Drive, University Park, Illinois. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Franklin. Second by Trustee Lewis.
Question.
Yes. Yes, is that Trustee Brooks, that's you?
Yeah, someone's hot. Someone's hot. Okay, right. I'm hearing the phone. I went crazy. I was hearing the phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody,
Okay.
please mute yourself if you're all doing something different. Go ahead, Trustee.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, the only question, first of all, I want this understanding because you have walked me through what Sugar Shack has done, and I would say I did see the progress that they did when they were building this bar.
Yes.
The question, well, here's the question: why we did not get this on a cow so that we would notice and we can meet the new tenant or the new tenant of the place?
Spouse, Trustee, it's his spouse.
I seen a guy's name.
No, that's a young lady. That's a spouse.
Whoa. Really?
Yes. Alexandra, that's a young lady,
Oh.
Trustee.
So she's switching it to,
They want to name it after their father, Big Willie Sports Bar and Grill, opposed to the Truth. That's it.
oh, okay. All right. And this just came about, correct?
Correct.
All right. Not since the cow. That's my point. You know I'm going there.
Yeah. They had to get it figured out. Yes, sir. Since the cow.
Okay. No, Neva, I was checking my thing. She sent us something here. Okay. I yield my time there. That makes sense now.
Yep. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
You're on mute, Madam Clerk.
Maybe Neva have to unmute her too, because she had his own. Okay.
We all will be.
Neva, you need
Sorry,
to unmute.
Neva gonna need Excedrin after tonight.
Uh-huh.
I'm hitting the button. She's just having a problem. It's just something going on with her button. 1 second.
Oh, okay.
Yo,
Yes,
there we go.
That's
Yeah.
them nails. That's them nails. That's Madam Clerk nails. Them nails so long.
I don't hit nothing with my nails. You know, I can't break my nails. Trustee Lewis,
Oh, both
Trustee
sides.
Franklin,
Both sides.
Trustee Bolden,
Both sides.
Trustee McFadden's absent. Trustee Jenkins Bell,
Votes no.
Trustee Brooks,
Both sides.
Mayor Rudez.
both sides, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, that's ordinance 2022-01.
Thank you. Item F2B, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an agreement by and between the Village of University Park and Coy W. Williams, Inc., AKA Coy's Towing for Metro parking lots. Is there a motion?
So
So
moved.
Moved by
Second.
trustee, second by trustee Bolden. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Lewis,
both sides.
Trustee Franklin,
Both sides.
Trustee Bolden,
Both sides.
Trustee Jenkins Bell,
Votes no.
Trustee Brooks,
Both sides.
Mayor Rudez.
Both sides, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, that's resolution 2022-04.
Awesome, we're moving right ahead. Item F2C, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an agreement by and between the Village of University Park and Asvar Audit Solutions, Inc. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Lewis,
Second.
second by Brooks.
Question?
Question?
Mhm.
Yes.
Ma- More so a comment, because I know at the last meeting we voted, we said we could move it over to this agenda. However, I was informed of some information today that I would like to share with the board, just for FYI. And Theo, this is might be why that little red flag went up with you when Mr. Fagan came on with his presentation last week. I learned today from a reliable source that he was part of the AM audits that was in the village at once before, and they sued us. And he was part of that group. He has since broken away from them, and now he coming back to the village under a new name, just FYI. So because you thought we had passed it before, remember you said we thought we had agreed upon it and it never happened. So I'm not sure if this happened in that same time frame or not, Theo. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. So maybe you could shed some light on it before we go on any further with this.
Yeah. Can I make a motion to table this, Mayor? Because I do remember that.
I was going to.
I want to make a motion to table this.
Okay, I do want to ask one question to the clerk. Madam Clerk, is that the AM audit group that at one time had did what they were supposed to do, collected the money, and the village never paid them like they were supposed to, and that's why they had to turn around and sue the village? Because the inception of it is that they do the work, the village gets the money, and the village is supposed to distribute to the group who did the work their 45% share. Is that the same group that we received? They did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah,
and
we received the money.
Right, and we did not pay them as supposed to, so we sued us for their findings. Is that right?
Correct.
Thank you for the clarification.
Oh, okay. So,
But they broke off away from that group that sued us, and they come back in a different name.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
because I didn't have knowledge. But if it was something that was more on the behalf that the village did not pay, I don't have a problem. Like, I don't have a problem with him. I did not approve something that we just found out new information for.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That-
Then I retract my motion, Madam Clerk.
Yes,
Okay.
madam.
Thank you for the clarification.
Also, when I spoke to Attorney Castaldo earlier today, I don't know if he spoke with Attorney Wargo, there, if you guys look at that revised agreement that I sent today, the attorneys were working with them on an issue that he figured that they should have it all ironed out tomorrow. So I think he was, and there's some blank spaces in the contract that you guys might want to take a look at.
Okay, then just go ahead and just table it for clarity, and we'll bring it on. But for that one point, Trustee Shirley, we just want to make it clear that's what the reason was for the lawsuit.
Thank you.
So if there's some blank spaces that unanswered questions, we don't write blank checks here. So I'll ask for a motion to table this until the next meeting.
Okay.
Also, looking through this, on page 5 of 14 of this agreement, and it just might have been, maybe it's going to be fixed in the future. Usually when it says, gives the company name, and over to the side, it usually said the Village of University Park, and they usually have village manager. Right now, they got Joseph Rudez. Should that be village manager?
No, it should be village manager.
Okay, that's my other question then. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Skil, I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't say, well, I was gonna follow through on the mayor's. Did you wanted to table it?
Let's let the attorneys figure out the fine points, and we don't want to have anything blank to be filled in after they say yes. So let's go ahead.
I just looked down and seen what Madam Clerk, she said, please take a look at the revised. I missed that. Sorry, Madam Clerk. Because I went straight to the, I kind of look in the Dropbox. I missed that one. Sorry, Madam Clerk. So Madam Clerk, I'm a motion to table this. This item, if I can get a second.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, Madam Clerk. No problem whatsoever. Nothing blank.
Trustee Lewis,
Both sides.
motion to table. Oh, you vote aye. Trustee Franklin,
Both side of the table.
Trustee Bolden,
Both sides to table.
Trustee Brooks,
Vote side, Madam Clerk.
I can barely see. Trustee Jenkins Bell,
Both sides.
Mayor Rudez.
Both sides of the table. Absolutely. Okay, that's table, and let the attorneys do their thing. If they get it right, they'll get it at the next board meeting for action. Item F2D, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an agreement by and between the Village of University Park and Nadler Golf Cart Sales, Inc. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Bolden,
Second.
second by Lewis.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, if I'm not mistaken, this is a company we already have at the golf course that we pay at, correct?
That's the company that provides the golf carts.
Okay, have we entertained anyone else? I'm just asking, like, did, and I guess that would go to the village manager. Have we entertained anybody else, considering that we're pumping this large amount of money to the golf course for these people to manage it? They never gave us a feedback in reference to this golf cart company.
Mayor, could I respond to him?
Yes, manager.
This is the very same company the village has used over and over because it's strictly dealing with rentals, repair and whatever. When something's going wrong with them, they take them, they repair them and or replace them, they send them back to us. It's the same contract that's renewable every year. Now, one thing about this, they have a specialty. It's very few entities out here that actually lease golf course, but predominantly they look for purchase and they use these kinds of companies to repair. So this was an unusual situation. So this was no different than it's been since 2019, since I've been here. 19, 20, and 21 every year. It's the same thing, and they've not gone up substantially at all.
Yeah, well, here's the other part. The golf course is not open like it should be, and yet, we're paying these people money. And I agree with you, Madam Village Manager. They have not gone up substantially, but also at the same time, if we need to make, I guess, a bang for our buck, we're spending money. And I just want to know that has it been entertained for the fact that, especially with the last report that the golf course sent us, it just seems like, it's becoming an anchor to this village, in which it was not like that before, at least for a moment, where the amount of money that's going out, and I think I had mentioned about these golf carts before, and I can say that at least last season, under my observation, and I've taken pictures, we have not used golf carts like that. So I just figured that at this point, unless we really gonna have a great golf season this year, I wonder, did we entertain or have CHW Group entertain or gave a recommendation to you in reference to maybe us doing something different? But since you mentioned repair and someone, and I can take that, Mrs. E, when you say someone does something unusual, it's hard to get a company that will repair it. But it's just the fact that, I mean, Ms. E, we're steady paying this company, but yet we don't have any golfers. So that's the one reason why I'm kind of objecting to this tonight. I yield my time. I'm not looking for an answer from Ms. E. I just kind of expressed it. She gave a reason why. I just figure at this point, is it something we can do different because no one has been out there, Mr. Mayor? That's all.
All right, I appreciate your comments, Trustee, and my suggestion would be, as the season moves on, we'll start looking at other directions for golf cart providers for next season. Right now, it's season's right around the corner, so we don't want to do anything to prohibit the success that we need to have at the golf course.
Listen.
All right, is there a motion, Madam Clerk? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Did we get a motion in a second? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Who was the motion? Who made the motion?
Trustee Bolden made the motion, and Trustee Brooks made the second.
No, I didn't make the second. I
No,
heard.
Trustee Lewis.
Yeah,
Trustee
I heard
Lewis.
Lewis.
All right.
Yeah, I had the question.
Yes, sir. All right.
Trustee Lewis,
Both sides.
Trustee Franklin,
Both sides.
Trustee Bolden, Trustee Bolden,
Votes aye.
Trustee Jenkins Bell,
Votes no.
Trustee Brooks,
Votes no.
Mayor Rudez.
Votes aye, Madam Clerk. Bills, item F2E, bills payable. Attached for your approval is a listing of general operating expenses for the Village of University Park that occurred on January 26, 2022 through February 22nd, 2022. General fund, $232,350.07. Debt service, $712.50. Road and bridge, $5,343.16. Town center fund, $8,606.07. Till 4, 5, and 6, $1,000, and our payroll fund at $4,129.36. Is there a motion?
So move.
Moved by Trustee Franklin,
Second,
second by Trustee Bolden.
Question.
Question, Trustee Brooks. Yes, sir.
Okay. My first question is going to be, why CHW Group is not on this bills payable? Are we down to no money? Or is it legal issues? What? Because at the end of the day, the last time I seen it, we end up paying a substantial amount of money to CHW Group, and we're steady chunking at the payments when it comes to bills payable. If we can ask if I get an answer for that one.
First of all, it's a contractual arrangement, so it should automatically be on this bill. I hadn't noticed that it was not on this bill, trustee, but, which means that it would have to be paid because it's paid monthly. It's a contractual arrangement, no increase, no decrease. It should have automatically gone on this bill, and I really hadn't noticed it was not on here.
But it should, I mean, if we pay something, Missy, it should
Absolutely.
be on there, right? That's what I thought, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
The board needs to approve it, okay. Also, Madam Village Manager, I meant to check back. Teamsters Local 700, they were one of 2 unions that just so happened to reach out to me. Are we up to date with the union dues? Because that has seemed to be one of the complaints with it, because I looked down at check 108-172. It looks like for $1,227. Is Local 700 getting everything? Because I heard they have not received everything. I think at one point it was almost, they were backlog close to a year.
Trustee, there are 2 things that happen, and we've talked to the unions about this. There was a process initially where the union would give us the authorization to take the appropriate deductions from the employees' checks. We would do that. There were some instances where that didn't happen. So we met and we got that straight. So we are, based on my conversation with accounts payable and with Jacilia, we're up to date on that. What we're yet trying to do is figure out how we're and where we're going to get the total of the retro monies to pay them. That tends to be the current issue. It's not that the union dues are not being paid, because they are being paid according to deductions now. That was made very clear. Our problem is the retro in union dues, and that's, we about got it, but we're having to pull and pull. We have to go back and get retro, not just for the police union agreement, but for the fire union agreement. And the next council meeting, I'll be bringing the union agreement for ASME. So this is not so happy of a year, but this is prior to fiscal ending 2022.
How many, 2022? How many,
Yes.
well, at least, do you know how much far behind we are with the dues? I was told a year. I was told it was a year. It was a year.
No, that's,
I was told it was only about a year, something like that.
no, sir. We just met and got it cleared in 2021. And there were some more added to it. They have people inside that was supposed to provide us with listings. We got that straight. So between Marlinda, Jacilia, and my conversation with the union negotiator, we are about up to snuff with it. We're about equal with payment on that. So we're not in the rears with union. We're not, because there are no new police or fire persons that have been put on. There is a couple of fires that are pending, and there's 1 police that are pending, but they haven't been put on board. We're not behind.
Right, meaning, right, that we are cutting the checks to the union. That's my point.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Okay. All right, and the last one, Madam Village Manager, I looked down in the invoices, and for 108, 179, and 108, 180, I don't know if it was a error on the finance department. I did bring it up to the finance department, and it was in reference to your TIF, right? Your TIF payments and the insurance, and something's wrong here, Madam Village Manager, because you getting almost $4,000 just for insurance. If you can take a look into that.
No, they only do the same, 771.72. That's it.
Are you following me? If the
I'm
trustees
looking.
need to,
Need to, please.
I'm looking at 108, 179. It was a printed check, 96.86 as such. It says 171.72. That's it.
right, and that's what I'm saying. You probably need to take a look on the invoice. She's putting in an invoice. The invoice is saying different.
Right.
So
So-
the invoice summarized, they do their annual figure or quarterly figure. And that's what's gonna always show up on the invoice, but the actual payout, you'll see it. It has X number of thousands of dollars, tells you how much I have left in this budget year. But you look to the right of that, it'll always tell you the amounts payable, this payment request, and you'll see the 771.
Okay, because
Accounts payable.
because the one we were looking at was for November, and that's why I was a little confused, like what's going on.
But then
I don't know if you're looking right. You may have to go into your Dropbox, Madam Village Manager. It's in the Dropbox. That's the invoice I'm talking about. No,
I have
no,
it right here.
no, not the check registry. Not the
The
check registry. It's in a
It's
Dropbox.
in the Dropbox.
Right. So you may want to take a look at that because it differs from the check registry.
Right.
Okay. Well, there, I know there's a gross summary and it tells you how much is left to the end of the budget year. I have to look at the Dropbox because it may have $2,000-$3,000 or something left, but then it has 771. It tells you that for the balance like of this fiscal year, you only have these amount of dollars left to make the appropriate monthly payout.
Right.
So
Well, yeah, because it said November, and I know we're paying you for
We did.
February, and
Mhm.
and the invoice was on there for a second time. It was in there for January, and now it's back in there again for
Again.
February. You may want to take a look at that,
All right.
Madam Manager.
Okay.
I yield my time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Wait, I have a question. Madam
Yes.
Village Manager Beck Fulgham, I wanted to know, why are we paying bills, half of the bills instead of the whole bill in its entirety? When I was looking at the invoices, I'm trying to understand why we're paying half of the electric bills, half of the cable bills, half of bills and not paying the bills in its entirety. Can you please answer that?
Sometimes sometimes because of when they make the payments, they add payments on they've already paid for, and she goes back and look at her accounts payable or canceled checks, and she subtracts those amount from the total amount of bill and only pay the net amount.
And only will pay the net
A lot.
amount.
It happens a lot. It's not that she's paying half the bill. It's almost like if you don't mail a bill by X dates, our approval from the board dates are not always the dates that's due by the utility companies. So consequently, quite often, we go over that date. So when we go over that date, we wait and we'll send the payment out for that. The closing date may have been hypothetically the 17th, but we have to come to the board on the 22nd to get approved. So what they do is they deduct what they've already paid and use the balance to come in the accounts payable. It happens a lot. If you go back and look at your prior invoices, you will see that happens a lot. Our payout date doesn't always coincide with their closing dates.
Also, I have another question. I noticed that the 2,000 and something odd dollars for the basketball uniforms is on the park and rec line item. We don't have a park and rec. So I'm asking, why is that? And also I'm asking, the baseball organization submitted their information on December 20th, and they are still not reimbursed for last fiscal year. And why is that? And I need to know why it's on the Park and Rec.
Okay. I'll check on Park and Rec, because that has been long gone. Maybe they haven't changed how it's being paid, but we'll get that out. We'll make that change by the next, it's the way it's being listed on here. And in some instances, even though we had submitted to state or federal, they're still using like 698. So it could be in here how it's in the computer system, accounting system we're using. So I'm gonna make a note of that, taking the Park and Rec out.
Also, I would like this read into the record. Madam Village Manager, I'm asking and requesting for you to send us a statement, a report on what is left in every line item on the budget as of today. Where are we at and how much do we have in a bank account? How can you expect us to agree to pay bills and we don't know what we have? We're sitting here saying but we don't know if we have enough to pay it. And I mean, we need to know with our own, we need to, the fairness in this is seeing it for ourselves and knowing what we're voting on. That's only fair.
Trustee, let me just say this.
Okay.
The reason why you have this request, these are the bills that we only have money to pay. Believe me, that this is the list you got. There are a lot more bills that are necessary to pay, but we don't have the dollars. This, we went in based on statements. We can only pay X number of dollars. Our priority is payroll.
Okay.
So believe me, you will get no NSF for these bills.
Well,
a lot more bills than these, but we can't pay categorically. Now, let me just say this and respond to the other
request.
The board knows that our fiscal year ends April 30th. So now into of 21-22 year, the fiscal year 1 and 22. There are individuals, trustee, that you've questioned in terms of funding. And we do have a meeting set up with this organization to meet on Thursday because there's some information that is so incorrect. And we are keeping this information not a part of the public now, because it would be an embarrassment if we said what we did publicly. I don't do that because I don't like folks to put out wrong things about me, but there are going to always be people that are going to put out wrong things. But you have to deal with it. So you can only do right if they don't. So we're meeting with them on Thursday to explain to them, if we allow this to happen and come to the board, it would incriminate this organization and don't want to do that.
Okay, well, let me ask a question. Why haven't you given them their $4,000 check and they've given you all of their receipts and they've given you everything that you
Trustee, as I just said, we are meeting with this organization Thursday and they will thank us. We are meeting with them Thursday and we're showing them and explaining everything.
So so you're gonna wait till Thursday to meet with them to explain to them why we haven't been given our money, and we gave you all of the receipts and everything
Trustee,
in December.
Trustee, on
and we're in
grounds
March.
and may
I mean, I'm just trying to get a full
right.
understanding
And Trustee, please listen to what I'm trying to tell you.
I'm gonna wait till Thursday. I'll wait. But let me ask you a question. When are we gonna get this report that I'm asking for in reference to what is left in the bank account? You just explained to me that we don't have any money and we tight, and payroll is first. You just explained all that. But what I'm trying to understand is how long have we been tight? And why did payroll come? Payroll came first, but every other organization has received what they needed, but we haven't received what we need. But we'll wait till Thursday. That's the question. I'm gonna wait.
Trustee, you don't have the correct information. And that's what happens when you don't have the correct information. You put the information out there. You don't have the correct information.
I know
We're
it was
meeting.
something, right? I do. Okay, it was a little something, but you still haven't answered the
This
question.
organization wants to wait until Thursday, and I'm
Okay.
for them to do.
All right, now also, when are you going to, would you answer that question? When are you going to provide us a report with what is left in our bank account so we'll know when we get to the next bills payable where we stand as a board? What is the secret? That's my question. Why is this such a secret?
Trustee,
And don't the taxpayers deserve, aren't they?
Trustee,
don't
let me
they
please
deserve
say that.
that?
You want me to respond? Let me just respond and say this.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing
No,
has
wait,
changed
wait,
between
don't
what
just-
I am
Ladies,
don't-
both of them can't
Excuse
speak
me,
at the same
Please
time.
let me
Miss
respond.
Ernestine, let me clarify
Please.
something.
Manage the whole time. Let the
Don't
trustee-
respond to me. Respond to the taxpayers of University Park.
And that's the
who you
way
need
I
to
do it.
respond.
That's
Okay,
that's
thank
what-
you. That's the way you
Okay.
do it. Thank you.
Okay. Except for when I give it to you. But anyway, let me just say this.
Mhm.
Let me just say this about the funding here.
Okay.
November through March has always been the lean months in the history of this
November
town.
to-
So
Okay.
please, see, you are considered a neophyte, but some of the others on the board very clearly understand November through March are the leanest months because we don't get taxes and some other kinds of things. And since we depend a lot on the taxes to help us with our budget, that's what we're doing. So I'm just trying to tell you, this is no different. But the thing about it, we've been doing fairly well with paying these bills. Fairly well with them. Now, you've asked for some changes on line accounts. I'm going to try to do those. But you have to understand, you say there's a lot of people working in that department, but there are two people that handle the finances in that department, accounts payable and Cecilia Kelly. Believe me, we will try to get these statements of accounts to you and we'll, but the problem is when we get specific kinds of information and people don't understand that process, they get it out to the public and wrong information comes back as a result.
Well, I have one last question. In the fiscal year of 2021, did we do any wire transfers from the tips into general fund? And I would like this read into the record.
Wire transfers are generally to the vendor.
Okay, so we have not transferred anything out of the tips into general funds in fiscal year
Trustee
2020.
Brooks,
No,
just a second. Trustee Brooks,
Yeah, right. And I guess as a follow-up, and I'll be done. So Trustee Jenkins, I'm listening to articulate and understanding how we've been doing it. I guess, Ms. E, yes, we're tight right now. And that's why I asked that question about the golf course. Are we in that bind so that the trustees can understand? Because the problem that happened prior to me coming in that was caught in 2016 was that the village managers before then who should not have done it, and I'm gonna emphasize should not have done it. They transferred money out the TIF into general funds without notifying the board. Mayor, you probably know the truth on that one. Madam Clerk knows the truth. I want to make sure that I know we have revenue. We had at least 900,000 come in for fees from when we had Clayco. I do believe, I don't know if revenue came in yet for Carvana, but not yet, Mayor. I didn't. Okay, so I guess the thing is, Madam Village Manager, the reason why I didn't put up a big fuss And Madam Clerk can tell you the year before I put up a big fuss because she called me when the 49ers was playing in the playoffs. Remember that, Madam Clerk? She said, Theo, I know how you feel. But the thing is that I know for a fact, considering that I was here and I seen what that board left us and the structure we were in, do we have enough revenue that we don't have to borrow any of the sort? And I guess that's where Trustee Jenkins is coming from. And if we had to transfer money, we did request it as trustees.
It would be a board.
Notified. We did ask if it was to happen to please notify us. But did we have to do it? And I guess we're asking now because it has come up. It is a concern. It has been a year since we asked for the 3.5 credit, but have we had to do that to solve that question? Because it is a concern and we don't want to, and I can see if Carvana comes and that money comes in, I know that's 1.3, whatever coming. Whatever revenue we may get out of tip 7, we can understand that. But I guess the question comes in, Madam Village Manager, did we reach that point? And the way money have went out, especially at that golf course, I'm gonna tell you, they generated enough money that I counted over $800,000 since they've been in there plus. And that was not how it was before. It was replenished. The agreement was to replenish a contract, but we want to make sure that the way we've been pushing money out, that we have balanced out these books to the point that we will not have to borrow and we didn't have to go transfer any money. That's the question.
Okay, trustee, let me answer it.
Okay.
When what happened was when I first came on board, without my knowledge, $1.9 million showed up on a board agenda and you all approved it. Without my knowledge. I vowed as village manager that we will not borrow any more money from the TIF funds in consideration. We were already $48 million in debt from TIF. I did not borrow. I have not borrowed to answer Trustee Sonia Jenkins. She didn't ask me in that way. You're more direct. I didn't know what she was asking me. You have to be very careful sometimes with Trustee Jenkins Bell. Yeah, she's very thorough. She's very thorough with understanding. I wanted to make sure I was answering her questions correctly, and I'm going to answer you, Trustee. We have not borrowed any TIF monies placed in general funds. I meant what I said when the requests come in from the companies. They have to, one thing that I'm making sure that they pair up with what the development agreement says. I review it. It goes to our attorneys. They review it. We then, once that's done, Ms. Kelly does a wire transfer. It takes a little time. It's not that fast now. Wire transfer to that company. We don't transfer any TIF dollars in our funds, even though we don't transfer any. We may pay the eligible costs, like when an attorney reviews an agreement, whatever the case is, for the TIF, we pay out of the TIF an approval request from the board. Any and all TIF funds, we pay not from general fund, we pay from the TIF only if they do TIF. One thing I can tell you about TIF, we only use the TIF dollars when it concerns itself with TIFs. When we're paying out, those direct funds are to them. You will not see any TIF monies that are coming to the general fund from TIF. To answer your question, no ma'am, no ma'am. And our audits will prove that.
When are they going to be released?
For
the public.
What's going to be released?
Aren't the audits already, aren't they released?
Every audit is complete, is already public.
It is? Okay, thank you.
So to make a long story short, Once
Mhm.
these Carvanas get to opening up, see, there's always been a history, Trustee Jenkins, of a shortfall during certain times of the year. The village
Mhm.
has never generated revenue in any aspect to cover that deficit. So
Okay.
ballpark, just the estimate, when Carvana's doors open after one year of operation, the proposed at the low point will be $1.3 million. A guarantee, a guaranteed
Absolutely.
$4 million in real estate taxes, which should do more than cover our shortfalls. And we should preferably do not ever have to go back to doing
Right.
things that we did as of the past. That is the
Mhm.
entire purpose
Carvana is not a
intention.
TIF. It's not a
Yeah.
TIF.
It's not a TIF. Okay.
And an
Now, can
intention
you,
to
can you
serve.
answer?
Let me finish, Trustee. Let
Okay.
me finish, please.
Okay, okay.
That is our goal and intention to spur economic growth and development till we won't have those shortfalls, till we can work on having a surplus. That's why it's extremely important to get economic development too. We won't have to go back to the problems of all, as Trustee Brooks would say, go into the tall. We've been spanked on our hands several years and years and years of going into the tall. Now we actually have a chance to move forward using our own finances in a smart way and bringing in revenue so we can probably have a surplus if we continue on the path that we're moving on. That's the whole goal. That's why, trustees, we work so hard on trying to bring economic development, because the long game is to eliminate the debt of the past and continue to move forward. So that's what the scenario is.
Okay. Also, since we're on the Carvana, we're on the subject of Carvana, would you please divulge to the taxpayers what the permit fees were? Because they want to know, and they should know what the permit fees were for Carvana. Can you remember? Do you have some type of recollection on what the permit fees were for Carvana? Because
that's not the mayor's. I'm not going to say anything off the top of my head. I'll look into it for you and I'll find out. I'm not going to just give you a knee-jerk reaction, but I'll do some research and give you the
what
best.
about the village manager? Shouldn't she know?
Well,
I'll
I
give you
would
the
want
exact
anyone.
figure. I'll give you the exact figure.
Yeah.
So
Can I have it in the morning? Maybe I need this ready to the record.
I'm functioning at 4 capacities. I will do the best I can, believe me.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Lewis,
Aye.
Trustee Franklin,
Both sides.
Trustee Bolden,
Both sides.
Trustee Jenkins Bell,
Votes no.
Trustee Brooks,
Votes no.
Mayor Rudez.
Both sides to pay the bills.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, I'm going to ask that we're going to table our executive session. Trustee McFadden would really like to be there, and she can't participate tonight. And Trustee Lewis, unfortunately, has a death in her family, and I know she's trying to get on the highway now. So may I have a motion for adjournment as we right now?
Before we get the motion, and I did look at Trustee Lewis' face. Trustee Lewis, I don't know what you're going through, sweetheart. I did notice you a little bit was out of character tonight, but whoever passed away, my condolences. I did know that logged on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And safe travel on the road.
Yeah, I'm sorry for whoever it was.
You know what? Let me just say this to everybody. You know what? This is a very strange season right now. It seems like we're being attacked on all ends. There's rumors and myths of war in the out there with Ukraine and the Soviet Union. We've got a trustee's son that could be potentially called up onto the battlefield. We've got persons dying here, persons dying there. We're just in a chaotic time. So let's just be supportive of each other and just to kind of stay strong. We'll get through this thing, but we have to work this thing out. We've got old Miss Washington, that's an old volunteer. We've got a young guy in the community, Matthew Gleese, that just died. And it's extremely hard to keep up with the large amount of deaths in the community. And we did pass an ordinance some time ago, like in 2016, that we would only acknowledge if it was an elected official's close family member, if I'm not mistaken. After some of the comments last night, I had to go back, and because we never want to seem that we're insensitive to the needs, but going back, looking at the notes, there was an ordinance passed by the board when I was a trustee that we would only acknowledge board members and close family members of the board members. And am I kind of correct, Madam Clerk?
Kind of,
Kind of.
kind of. I think what we were looking at were committee members, board members, that we would do resolutions
Okay.
for
Okay.
them. At one point, we were sending out, cards, sympathy cards for other people that, the board heard about. They would send flowers for board members that passed away, plus the board itself and the officials would usually stand as honor guards.
Yes.
That was the past practice. And then when funding started getting short, they came into this. But could I, Mr. Mayor, I would truly like to send my condolences to Al Washington, who's the husband of Frances Washington. Both of them served on our committees. They lived on Brockhurst
Yes.
for
Fantastic.
about 20 years. They were fantastic members
Yes.
of the community.
Yes. Trustee Shirley?
Just go back a conversation.
You have one of
About-
those prejudice moments?
Go back. Madam Clerk, you said that resolutions would only be for the employees and village trustees?
For trustees, employees, and committee members, or their families. They would send cards. Yeah.
I think that might have been 2016.
Okay, go ahead. Do you know what I'm thinking? You and I'll talk.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
We need to get back to it, but Karen Lewis may
I'm
heavily
sorry.
with you in your travels.
Yes.
Anything, my phone is on. I know, especially when you hit the road, like I said, the best message I heard was coming through Missouri, and Clerk D came right through when I was really hurting with grandma. And that was the best message that I heard. And I turned around and put it into the funeral. So whatever you need, we're here for you. Love you, dear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes, madam.
Whoever it is in your family, you have my condolences. And just remember this, it's hard now, but with God, time will help ease the pain. Go with God and be blessed.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Is there a motion, please?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Mayor.
Moved by trustee Brooks,
Second.
second by Franklin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. You all have a nice evening. Bless you, Sister Lewis. Have safe travels.
Yeah,
God
be
bless
safe.
you.
Be safe. Be safe.
My condolences, trustee.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.